It's Monday, November 16th, and the time for your Barbados Today Morning News Update. Persons living near the illegal dump at Lower Estate Quarry, St. George, call for immediate relief from environmental problems. At a town hall meeting held yesterday by the Ministry of Health and Wellness, residents vented their frustration at the vexing situation, which they say they've had to live with for the past few years. They shared their plight of enduring unbearable fumes with Health Minister Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic, other government officials, and their new parliamentary representative, Tony Moore.
The order is affecting people in the area. Unless you are coming here to tell them that there is some new brand of perfume that has been invented that will be dumped into a drone and flown over the affected area and sprayed 3 or 4 times a day, then this meeting shouldn't last more than 10 minutes, at which you should have come here to announce the closure, the date of the closure of the facility, and assure the residents that the police, in association with officials from the Ministry of Health, will be making frequent checks to ensure that it remains closed.
Based on the stench and it isn't going anywhere, I personally would like it to start as soon as possible. I don't know what the other residents feel, but if it kicks up in Christmas, we smell the same thing. So I prefer to get it head on now and get a breather in 2021, since everything bad happening in 2020 anyway. So my one part, start immediately.
I don't see Sherry sitting next to me in Queen Elizabeth Hospital. I don't see any of y'all sitting next to me in Queen Elizabeth Hospital. And I am a mother that loves my children, and I panic. And when the water comes to my eyes to see that my children can't breathe. Well, when this first happened, my daughter was 2 years old. She's 4 now. I'm still having the same situation. Inhalers, and the hurtful thing now is they're telling us don't bring the children because of the COVID and how to use the inhalers. I don't have the high-tech things where the persons use, what is called them. I don't have none of them. So I got to maintain with the inhaler, make sure she gets 6 puffs before a certain time. You don't know how it is feel to see your child breathing like that. You know when it's their last. So I hope that this word given now is the final word, and we don't have to come back here 2 years later, 3 years later, begging and pleading for this thing to stop.
I can't take this no more. I had enough. I didn't plan to say anything, but to tell the honest truth, my hardest point is getting up at 3:30 when my daughter wakes me and tell me, Mommy, I can't breathe. My daughter almost dead one night when this thing started to hit through the house. I tell her, look, I can tell you something, Mr. Minister. I never drive 100 miles yet, but I drive at 100 just to get hospital. I could have lost my daughter, my only daughter. And this needs to stop.
Residents were assured that authorities were taking steps to tackle continuous smoldering in the quarry, along with the toxic fumes in the atmosphere, in a bid to rectify the situation. Minister Bostic said that the framework will be put in place in the coming weeks.
One of the things that I have said to the technical team is exactly what you were saying, because recognizing how long this is going on, that timelines give you the degree of confidence in what we're doing. The challenge is we will do so, but first of all, for example, in terms of the waste and dealing with that issue, we need to hear from you as to when would be an appropriate or the time for us to start, given the fact that what Mr. Marshall would have indicated in terms of the odors and the smoke that will be generated from doing this work. The air quality, that is being worked on at the moment, and I anticipate that within another 2 weeks at the most that we should be able to give some sort of timelines. They will be given through the technical committee, and you have some residents who are on that committee that will be able to communicate those timelines. But this project cannot go on without having those timelines up front, because that is what gives the interministerial committee the opportunity to be able to monitor what the technical people are doing to make sure that we are keeping up to date as far as the operations are concerned.
The Barbados Road Safety Association issues a plea for stiffer penalties for drivers responsible for road deaths. President Charmaine Roland Bowen made the call yesterday as the association placed markers in areas where road fatalities occurred to observe World Day of Remembrance for road traffic victims and their families. The road safety advocate said the judicial system was still too lenient when administering penalties to guilty drivers.
Enough is not being done. This year ends the first decade of action for road safety, and we have not achieved the target that was set. This has been extended now to 2030. The United Nations, the World Health Organization, and these entities have extended it. The decade of action for road safety has been extended to the year 2030 now. So even though we have laws in place and they're not inactive, they're ineffective. We might have laws now for the breathalyzer, but no breathalyzer is in place, and that is one of the major concerns that we have. We're all about life and safety, all about life. And as you will see in that report I would have given you, we need to work hard. Our authorities, the judicial system needs to be more effective, because right now they're failing this country, they're failing the victims of this country, they're failing families in this country, they are failing, so they need to rethink and reconsider it. Don't look at one side, look at the side of the families that are left behind and the families that are hurt.
Acting Governor General Sir Kenneth Hewitt will in a few hours administer the oath of allegiance to trade unionist Tony Moore as the new Member of Parliament for St. George North. She will occupy the seat in the lower house following her win in the November 11 by-election. The ceremony will take place at Government House at 11 a.m. Now, over the weekend, Moore and a leader of the Barbados Labour Party, Prime Minister Mia Mottley, as well as other party officials, staged a victory motorcade in the St. George North constituency. It was there that Prime Minister Mottley announced that two former members of the Democratic Labour Party had joined the ruling party.
They have come to us because they believe that at this time in Barbados' history, we are the better party fit for purpose for building out this country. And since we are family, I will share with you, because both of them have asked me to be able to share. And I want to thank Rodney Grant for coming back home. When I say to Woody, light a candle and sing a Sankey and come home, it is because there is no malice in our heart. But Rodney is needed to help us build out social capital, help us with the affirmative action program, and work with us generally. And I know that he and Santia will be working together in the Pine when we go forward to the next election. I also want to thank George Connolly, who has now joined the Barbados Labour Party, and who, in spite of running against Kerry Simmons on the last occasion, recognizes that this country needs all hands on deck if we are to build and go forward, but it also helps us if the Barbados Labour Party's tent is wide enough to be able to accommodate more.
The statue of Lord Nelson will be removed from National Hero Square today and relocated to Block A, the Garrison. And the General Secretary of the Caribbean Movement for Peace and Integration, David Denney, who is eagerly looking forward to the event, is calling on residents to wear black to celebrate the day.
The Caribbean Movement for Peace and Integration is calling on all of the people of Barbados to wear black on that day, because we want to also recognize that day as the day against all forms of exploitation. The removal of Nelson is not only a day that Barbadian people should recognize and celebrate, it's also a day for the people of the Americas, because all of the slaves were brought, or in fact most of the slaves were brought to Barbados, and Most of them would have left Barbados and then went on to other parts of the Americas. So I think that this is a day that we in Barbados should extend the celebration to the entire black community in the Americas.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To developments from our regional neighbors, Trinidad and Tobago's Prisons Commissioner Denney has made another call for the prison population to be reduced as more inmates are diagnosed with COVID-19. More in this report from TV6 News.
If I get a reduction by 1, I'm happy, but if I get a reduction by probably 30%, it can become manageable.
The prison population numbers roughly 3,800 inmates, with 3 to 5 inmates housed in one cell in most instances.
The maximum was designed for 3 inmates in a cell with 3 beds. So I'm saying that once you can safely accommodate 3 inmates in a cell, that would be great. But the design of a prison is not one that will easily resist the virus of this nature.
Thus far, 68 prisoners have been confirmed with COVID-19, but the Commissioner says the situation appears to be under control.
The symptoms I'm seeing is a general cold-like symptoms, little sniffles and that kind of thing, but we have no severe cases as yet. But I have a separate area which I have them in that is inaccessible to a lot of other traffic. So they are all separate and, safe.
The Commissioner says officers have expressed concern about the situation.
There were 15 officers who would have worked among those inmates. So as a precautionary measure, I send them for testing and quarantine just to ensure that they have not been contaminated with the virus yet.
SpaceX on Sunday launched 4 astronauts, 3 from the US and 1 from Japan, on a mission to the International Space Station. The crew rode to orbit in a rocket and capsule provided by the company. It will take just over a day to reach the station. According to international media, SpaceX earned that designation and the right to undertake what NASA hopes will be regular missions to the space station.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
And resilience rises. Not even gravity contains humanity when we explore as one for all.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.